My name is Estelle Langdon. My boyfriend, Nathan Schumer, doesn't love me. But good thing he is poor. One kiss costs $30,000, and one night of intimacy costs $100,000. For the past 5 years, I'd clung to him in debasing humiliation, using my money to buy his time and keep him by my side. Just as I am about to spend another $2 million to renew our relationship for another year, the housekeeper's daughter, Sherry Tate, suddenly runs over in tears. At the same moment, I hear the voice of a child coming from her belly. Mom, don't be scared. Dad is about to be reborn right now. If it hadn't been for this nasty woman forcing Dad to stay with her money, how could you have missed out on each other for 8 years? Only after Dad kills her do you finally reunite. Luckily, everything started over. As long as Dad uses the $2 million to buy Bitcoin, we can pay off Grandpa's gambling debts and Grandma's medical bills. I glance at Nathan, who suddenly carries himself with a cold and noble composure, so different from his usual pretense of gentleness. Then, I quietly withdraw the black card I was holding out. Bitcoin. Huh, this once-in-a-lifetime fortune will be mine, not his. I really did like his face, but that didn't mean I'd let him and his unborn child play me for a fool. Nathan Schumer frowned at me in displeasure, his fingers tapping against the marble tabletop. He carried himself with an added air of refined arrogance, as if he had victory in hand. Why are you taking back the card? Weren't you the one who said you wanted to extend our arrangement for another year? There was the usual mockery in his voice, as if reminding me how I'd clung to him all these years. Sherry Tate stood a little behind him, her fingers curling against the hem of her clothes. Her red-rimmed eyes only made her seem even more fragile and pitiful. And there it was again. I heard that crisp, childlike voice coming from her belly. Take the card already, Daddy. Invest those $2 million into Bitcoin, and in 10 years, its value will shoot up by 3,000 times. You can become the richest man in the country 8 years earlier than before. That way, the three of us won't have to live under this nasty woman's thumb anymore. My hand paused almost imperceptibly. I lifted my gaze toward Nathan, my eyes lingering on the mole at the corner of his left eye. I really did like that face. Snorting contemptuously, I slid the debit card back inside my wallet and met Nathan's gaze, saying, "Oh, I just lost the desire to extend our arrangement." Nathan's tapping fingers paused for a split second. A flicker of shock flashed through his eyes. Clearly, he hadn't expected such a flippant response from me. However, he quickly schooled his expression and straightened up a bit. With his tone as arrogant as ever, he questioned, throwing tantrums again. "Estelle." Right on cue. Sherry began to sob, the sound faint yet annoying. Her fingers were still tightly wound around her hem, but her eyes were furtively darting toward me. Her act was flawless. I might have really ended up letting them play me for a fool if she hadn't let me hear the fetus's voice. But Sherry thought too highly of herself. Her mother had only worked for my family for 3 years, yet she dared to act so familiar with me. Then, that childlike voice rang out again, brimming with eager excitement. "Cry louder, Mommy. Tug on Daddy's sleeve and make him feel sorry for you. And Daddy, get angry. That woman is just trying to scare you." Sure enough, Sherry followed the instructions and tugged on Nathan's sleeve, choking out, "Nate, don't fight with Essie. It is all my fault. I shouldn't have come here. We just happened to bump into each other by coincidence today." Without hesitation, Nathan took her hand, his voice gentle with concern. "This has nothing to do with you, Sherry. You don't need to apologize to her." Turning to me, he stared coldly. "Even though I am your boyfriend, Estelle, I have the freedom to make my own friends. You have no right to control me. Besides, you know my mom needs money for dialysis. Using the $2 million to threaten me only makes me despise you more." The child's voice cheered. "Daddy's right. That woman's biggest fear is losing you." I leaned back in my chair, my fingertips brushing along the edge of my wallet. Even Nathan's face was starting to get on my nerves. How could he say such things with that face I liked so much? Snorting, I put on a considerate expression and said gently, "Yeah, you are right. Lori's health should be the